It's April 1975. Gerald Ford has been in the White House for 8 months following the resignation of Richard Nixon over Watergate, and the Vietnam War is in its final phase.
The North Vietnamese repeatedly and in massive efforts violated the Paris Peace Accords.
In neighbouring Cambodia, a genocide under the Khmer Rouge is just starting, and in America there's an air of nostalgia for a more innocent time, with Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days on TV, and sentimental country pop from John Denver and B.J. Thomas at the top of the charts.
And the feeling just got right for a brand new love song.
Americans had just shivered through two particularly cold winters, with heavy snow falling in places where it usually did not, like Texas. Something weird was going on. Since the late 1960s, the emerging environmental movement in America had focused on pollution, the killer smogs, the oil slicks and industrial waste that saw major rivers literally catch fire.
For 2 hours, fashionable Fifth Avenue was off-limit to automobiles and became a crowded pedestrian mall. Autos were banned on busy 14th Street, too, and thousands of persons jammed into Union Square to attend an Earth Day rally.
While the human health implications of pollution were all too clear, the health of the Earth itself was still something of a mystery. Newsweek magazine hit the streets on April 28th with an eye-catching article under the headline, "The Cooling World." Reporter Peter Gwynn wrote about ominous signs that the Earth's weather patterns have begun to change. Gwynn wrote the changes may portend a drastic decline in food production. He went on to cite a survey by Dr. Murray Mitchell of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration revealing a drop of 0.5 degrees in average ground temperatures in the Northern Hemisphere between 1945 and 1968. Gwynn also noted a study of satellite images by Columbia University's George Kuckler indicating a sudden increase in Northern Hemisphere snow cover in the winter of 1971-72. Gwynn's article also talked about more evidence of climate change, floods, droughts, and concluded the central fact is that after 3/4 of a century of extraordinarily mild conditions, the Earth's climate seems to be cooling down. So they weren't completely wrong. As we now know, climate change brings extremes of weather conditions within an overall warming trend rather than a cooling trend. A bit like this weather guy, they were still figuring out the technology.
The sleep was not expected. It wasn't until we came to work in the morning. It would help. oh boy.
Within a few years, new CO2 monitoring stations were providing more and better data, and experts got a better understanding of what climate change really meant.
If you look at the mean temperature of the globe in the last 30 years, it's something like 3/10 of a degree or so warmer than the mean temperature of the globe perhaps a century ago.
Still, for decades, deniers of human-induced global warming and climate change, like Republican Senator Jim Inhofe, kept bringing up that old report by Peter Gwynn.
The Liberals like to use climate change just in case they're wrong and it ends up getting cooler. Climate change and global warming are actually synonymous. The whole idea is that the alarmists, and I call them the alarmists, the same ones who said back in 1975 that an ice age was coming, we're all going to die, they contend that the weather is getting warmer and has since the turn of the century, and that's due to anthropogenic gases or man-made gases, CO2, methane, and that type of thing.
The science on that now is settled, and experts no longer look at a few weather events like the cold American winters of the early 1970s and make sweeping conclusions, although some politicians still do.
We keep hearing that 2014 has been the warmest year on record. I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball, and that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out. Very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
So, while some of the projections experts were making in April 1975 were wrong, perhaps the most accurate prediction in Peter Gwynn's report was this: climatologists are pessimistic that political leaders will take any positive action to compensate for the climate change. But Maybe that too is about to change.